Another fun episode for the week. We got some energy going today, talking about Sam Altman from OpenAI begging Congress for regulation, to which we all say, yes, have it.
Yes.
Thank you.
Please.
You are welcome to it.
Yeah, it's a cool episode.
Yeah.
Might I just interject for a second? Sorry, Mike. The mirror thing still flips me around. That's it. Now I can do it because I figured it out.
Is it this way? It is that way.
Yeah, well done. Anyway, just wanted to say thanks to all our subscribers. We really appreciate everybody who watches and everybody who's clicked subscribe and like. We're close to 500 at the moment, and we want to, have that launch party soon. So if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. And if you are, then tell your friends to, and potentially threaten them with violence.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Do not condone violence, but do threaten them with mean words.
Yeah. And come by Discord. Anyway, it's going to be a fun episode, so check it out. Enjoy.
So this story is about the OpenAI CEO in front of Congress begging for regulation. And this is one we've done several stories lately about people coming out with great concern for the risks of artificial intelligence, especially in light of the current advancements with ChatGPT, in particular, GPT 3.5, GPT-4. Generative AI that's creating the deep fakes. And these are risks that I very much agree with. I am also very concerned.
Yeah. So the look, weird pause here because it sounded like you were going to go on, Mike. That's what's confusing me. I'll be honest.
No, go ahead.
Sorry.
Well, I will. I think what stands out about this story is the idea that he's asking for regulation. I think that's the part that people don't get. And I've talked about this before on the show, is that as a corporation, you cannot by law do anything to put your corporate profits at risk. Now, I don't know if OpenAI is publicly traded or not. I don't think it is. I think it's privately owned. But if the regulations don't exist, they are kind of unilaterally disarming if they don't pursue these things. So one, you want to make sure your competition doesn't outpace you. But two, if you're a publicly traded company and you recognize that this is a threat, you do have to be forced to do something about it.
Yeah. So I think the ulterior motive that people are suggesting here, by the way, the title of the article is "When the Tech Boys Start Asking for New Regulations, You Know Something's Up." So it was an article in The Guardian. And it was talking about Sam Altman's recent appearance in front of Congress, where he called for regulation. Sam Altman being the CEO of OpenAI. I don't know if they are publicly funded, but they would definitely have some donations.
I do not think.
I don't think they are.
I think that they are still fucking receiving investments. Like I think that they're like
from like Elon Musk and Microsoft and other companies. But it was supposed to be an open thing, hence the name. But they have this weird corporate structure where there's part of it which is not and part of it. Anyway, regardless, the fact that the person representing the company, which has been responsible for the biggest shift in AI ever, is calling for their own technology to be regulated, you got to be suspicious. And it's probably to do with the fact that they're maybe falling behind, or related to Google's kind of admission that they have no moat, no unique selling point, nothing that kind of makes them stand out from what people are doing at home. So regulation would cover everybody. It wouldn't just cover the corporate side of things. It would cover like the open source implementations as well. Like it would become like crypto was, cryptography, the original meaning of the word crypto, back when, if you guys remember DECSS, it was a very small piece of code which could decrypt the digital rights management software on DVDs.
Oh yeah,
and it was
right.
It was able to be printed on a T-shirt, but because it was classed as cryptography, it was regulated by the US government, which meant that it couldn't be exported from the US. So you could wear a T-shirt with this piece of code on it, and technically you couldn't leave the country because you were exporting like high military grade encryption software. And obviously it didn't ever work out in practice, but that's what they're aiming for, I think, with this.
I love old laws like that because, I mean, that's a copy paste and it's out of the country, right? Like my friend in another country on MSN gets a fucking Control-C, Control-V. And I say MSN because it was back then.
It also does cover the other big boys. So it means that nobody can make any kind of significant shifts and start selling it without the government getting involved. So, it was impractical
If he was the only guy out here beating this drum, then okay, you could cynically look at that. It still seems like a lot of effort to go to try to protect yourself. It's it's short-sighted. It's like there's a lot that could go wrong. It's a really weird strategy for a business to take just because they're getting outpaced by their competition. But
I actually don't think,
he's not the only one. That we talked last week or 2 weeks ago about the guy Google's head of AI who resigned because he was concerned about how Google was handling it. Before that, a letter signed by dozens of prominent AI researchers and leaders in the field voicing concerns over this and asking for the pause. And people say the same thing every time. Oh, they're trying to slow down the competition. Oh, they're trying to catch up because they're just sad that they fell behind. It's just sour grapes. I don't know, man. No, I
think both could be true.
To it.
Yeah, I think there is a level of concern that these companies probably have in their R&D departments, right? Like, we do not know the full story. And when we see something as revolutionary as GPT, and what it's done overnight to something like academia, right? And there's so many implications that we're not thinking of or considering, and then couple that with what is going on the inside in all of these firms and all of these companies. I'd want some regulation too. I could see Sam, right, walking through his R&D department being shown the fucking craziest shit we can't even imagine.
Yeah, we call this one Skynet 1.0. That's
right. And he's like, if we're doing that as a startup, what is happening over at Google or at Microsoft or at Facebook or ByteDance or any of these companies that we haven't even seen? And let's not forget that guy at Google who got fired because he was like, we've created sentience, and no one believes him. I don't know if I believe him, but my point is, I'd be kind of spooked too, I think, if I was in Sam's shoes, especially seeing what it's doing. Like, we've talked about this. You can ask ChatGPT to quote a certain chapter or page from any book, and it tries to kind of skirt the question, but if you do it in a certain way, it will give you an excerpt. It will have read every book available online that was publicly facing.
And look,
and
we've been through this with social media. These are the same guys who at the beginning of social media were just like free for all, doing whatever the fuck they wanted. And we know where that's gotten us. Social media has been a disaster for society. Now if these guys are saying regulate us, like, fuck yeah, we should regulate these guys. Who cares what their motives are? They definitely need to be regulated.
Agreed. 100%.
I agree.
And it will not curb what's the word I'm looking for? Innovation.
Innovations. Yeah. That was one of the main arguments that was put forward, was we missed the boat on social media regulation. It's resulted in, measurable increases in suicide, mental health issues, all sorts of really bad shit. We can't miss the boat on regulating AI. I think that both things are true. I think that there's definitely some advantage from speaking out like this, but I think also it's going to benefit us. But I think also that whichever government tries to put regulation in place is going to really fuck it up somehow. They just won't. It's a bunch of old people. They won't understand what the problems really are.
That's the biggest problem.
They won't trust the reports that they're given, and they will come in with some draconian regulations which won't be practical and unenforceable.
I've said that before also, but I'm kind of coming around to the idea that, like, they're the only regulators we've got.
Yeah, they're the least worst.
It's a systematic problem. That's a huge problem. When you are asking, and you've seen this, when you're asking the CEO of TikTok if TikTok accesses your Wi-Fi at home, it's like you shouldn't be in that chair. You shouldn't be the one asking questions. Where's the committee that was created specifically for these problems? There isn't one, and that is also, of course, a big problem in America. Is that it's not the European Union or individual European countries. They don't take that approach of like, oh, maybe we aren't the fucking smartest guys in the room. Wait, maybe we're actually sort of super dumb and we should use smart people and pay them a bunch of money to actually help us do good. No, fuck that. Let's just let the old dudes do it.
It's like those old Roman myths of like emperors or kings or what they called in Greece, not in Greece, in Egypt. The pharaohs, who kind of like just accept advice from their grand viziers or declare rules about how things should be just because that's how they feel like that day.
I think my problem with your both things can be true argument, Peter, is in a way it feels like letting them off the hook on the argument of regulation. So like, yes, they're calling for regulation, but they're calling for it cynically. I don't care. Like,
no, I don't care.
I feel like it dilutes the argument, though. Like, you're giving credence to that argument, but like, so what? They're fucking liars right off the bat. Just regulate the shit out of them.
Sure. I mean, no.
Let me actually. Sorry,
it's bad.
The whole innovation, like neutering innovation because of regulation. We've seen that that's not the case in Europe, even though Europe did push the single hardest piece of regulation against social media companies ever with GDPR. That was so big that it affects all companies doing business
in the DMA and the DSA. But
but possibly it was made by more qualified people, I think, to Peter's
No,
point.
but yes, okay, true, sure. But it is kind of insane when you go look at, I don't know if, I'm sure Peter has. I'm not sure if you have, Mike.
Oh, as a marketer, I've definitely read GDPR.
That shit is fucking
fucking
crazy.
Hate that thing. We agree.
GDPR is insane. It's actually, I'm not kidding, it's a compliance nightmare. Like, you look at GDPR and you're like, wait.
You literally couldn't do it.
Where is our data, guys? Like, where does it live? And then you go to the people who are meant to know, and they're like, no clue.
Yeah, it's a disaster.
It's not their problem.
Definitely needs to be repealed. I'm glad we agree on that.
Article 12 of the UN Declaration of Human Rights should be repealed, like the right to privacy. Just get rid of it. All right, I will fight you guys on this.
I never said repeal it. I just said it's a fucking nightmare.
I've recruited John
for overnight. It's a total nightmare to just turn on.
I'm fine. I accept both of your statements. I think that there is nothing wrong with asking for regulation, even if it benefits you commercially. Fine, good. Let's still regulate the shit out of it.
Yeah,
and
agreed.
Yes, GDPR is a nightmare for people who now have to act ethically. Oh god, okay.
No, but it's not about acting ethically. Hey, it's not about acting ethically. You weren't acting unethically.
Yes.
Well, no, Peter's point is, if you collect any data at all, you are acting unethically, no matter what, under all circumstances.
No.
Privacy, Peter, privacy is a wheel. Okay,
it's a spectrum.
Go on then. I want to hear this one.
No. Yeah, spectrum. I was just going to say that obviously there's certain layers to privacy, right? Like, so you providing me first name, last name, and email versus first name, last name, email, birth date, full address, social security number, like all of these crazy personal things, and me just sending it to whoever the fuck, wherever the fuck, I don't give a shit. That's a problem.
I'll trade you all of those things except for email address for the last 10 websites they visited.
Right. So like, that's not that crazy. Yeah.
No, I'm saying I will literally make that deal right now.
Shit, it's a pretty good deal.
Oh my god! So I bet you would, Mike. You
Mike. You throw in current location, and we're in.
Someone who has a very accurate valuation of the different kinds of data that's available.
Yeah. Anyway, all right, we've been floffing about this for way too long. We can wrap it up.
All right, that was a fun episode.
It was.